So a very, very warm welcome to Miss Esther Kunda, Director General for Innovation and Emerging Technologies at the Republic of Rwanda's Ministry of ICT and Innovation. Esther, an absolute pleasure to have you here today.
Very happy to be here. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I kind of want to delve straight in because I'm just so excited on the transformational journey that Rwanda has been on to get where it is today, you know, a real trailblazer in digitalization. And, you know, I think it's safe to say that Rwanda is quickly becoming East Africa's digital prodigy. And yeah, just super excited to hear more. So I wanted to basically open up because I remember at last year's World Telecommunication Development Conference, which was hosted in Kigali, Honourable Minister Paula Ingabire opened with a pledge basically to work together to bring the 2.9 billion people worldwide into the digital world that they're currently not in. Can you speak to the current opportunities and challenges that this pledge presents, particularly in the African context?
Thank you very much, Jessica. And it's very important that as we make pledges, and the pledges that we made, we really go back and do a retrospective evaluation of where we are. And one of the key things that is very important is as you know, most people worldwide, the 2.9 billion people that we need to connect, most of them are actually in Africa. So it's a very, I would say, an activity that is very close to our heart, and ensuring that we get there. But more importantly, what we've done, especially for in Rwanda more specifically, we've revised our broadband policy in the last year to make this a catalyst to have targeted intervention to bridge the digital divide. And we hope that with this new policy direction, we can actually fast track how many people how many Rwandans especially that get online very quickly. We're also working with the private sector and other various partners to ensure that we are doing in specific initiatives such as device financing. So we launched with telecom companies and banks a program called Matie in November last year to increase smartphone ownership. And almost 80,000 people now are currently in the program. So you can see that there's already appetite that is being built within Rwandans to understand what is technology and what is and how they can actually be part of it, and how they can own it. Other than that, we've also seen development within solar home companies who are also now bringing and creating packages into their electrification offerings. They're adding on smart devices. So it's now we're diversifying where Rwandans actually enter the digital world first, and ensuring that when you have electricity, you get a smartphone. When you're ready on a feature phone, how do you get a smartphone at an affordable price? But despite that, I think we still have a very big, the challenges still persist, especially on the continent, whether it's, and mostly we have limitation on infrastructure at varying infrastructure that is a hindrance, a varying level of digital literacy and socioeconomic disparities. They all continue to pose hurdles towards that. So our proactive approach and collaborative spirit is to ensure that as we continue to test some of these methods, we're willing to share them at a continental level, continue to engage with our peers to understand what lessons can we learn, what is working in a certain country and what is working in Rwanda, and sharing this experience so that we can see how we can actively connect the unconnected today. Yeah.
Wow, now that's super, super interesting stuff. And I think what I love about the examples that you shared is it's at every level. So at an infrastructure level, looking at access to broadband for rural communities, but then linking up the public sector and the private sector. How do you create that demand stimulation with solar home system companies so that users almost find a need to have these mobile phones? You're now connected, you have electricity. What's the next step to kind of better your life, essentially? So really interesting stuff. And it seems like there's some great packages and just initiatives going on in Rwanda that's super exciting. So thank you. And so Rwanda's fast becoming a front runner in technological innovation, as I mentioned. What would you say are some of Rwanda's biggest achievements to date regarding digitalization and technological governance and accessibility?
Thank you. At the forefront of our digital transformation, which is now more than 20 years, I think the first thing I can mention is our digital infrastructure, more particularly our fiber coverage, and as well as our 4G network coverage. With 4G, we now cover about 97% of the population that have access are covered by 4G. So with that, then we're working on getting everyone to increase our usage. The other groundbreaking achievement, of course, is the online e-government service platform, eRembo. It has now expanded to offer about 103 services online, and we're getting to close that gap of having all government services online by next year or in the next 2 years, to ensure that this user-friendly interface empowers citizens with convenient and efficient access to essential public services. Thirdly, the data protection and privacy law, which was passed 2 years ago, and it will go into effect later this year. And it's a testament really to our commitment to safeguard individual privacy in this digital era. As we started saying, how do we connect all these 2.9 billion, even the unconnected Rwandans? It is very important that they come into an ecosystem that is caters for their privacy, their protection, and looks and has a platform to actually drive technology advances in a much more safer way. The other element, but more importantly, on how government is currently working, we've established chief digital office structures within all the key sectors in Rwanda. So you'd have in education, agriculture, health, infrastructure. They all have what we're calling chief digital offices. And these are these offices strategically integrate technology, but also aim to enhance efficiency within these sectors in ensuring that, one, we amplify the benefits of digital solution or digital transformation within those sectors, but also create a roadmap and the digital transformation vision from the lens of what that sector is looking at. For example, in agriculture, if we're looking at food security, then digital transformation within that sector should also come to enhance and accelerate food security achievements. So this is some of the things that we've been doing. The other one that we've also recently done is an AI policy and corresponding solutions to further solidify how we think about cutting edge technology adoption. And we actually, this policy just puts us in a position to harness and think about how transformative AI can be within various sectors and foster innovation both in public and private sector. And lastly, we have a thriving innovation ecosystem. We've positioned ourselves to become a proof of concept hub, where we do provide a flexible regulatory environment for innovators to test their solution, but also use Rwanda as a springboard for their innovative ideas, scale globally with impactful solutions. And we've really seen very cutting edge solution born out of Rwanda expand to global countries, both in Africa and in Europe and in the US. And this is some of the most important element. One last thing, I think it's our education ecosystem. We've been able to attract Pan-African universities that are currently nurturing more than students or talent coming from more than 40 countries in Africa. And we're very proud to see that synergy and that collaboration within Rwanda. Thank you.
Gosh, a whole list of incredible achievements. And I think we've just kind of touched the tip of the iceberg there, which is incredibly exciting. And for me, I think what excites me the most about Rwanda and this incredible case study is just how enabling the policy environment is for tech innovation. You know, it's just a right place for people with great ideas to come in, as you said, test out these proof of concepts and see what works, because that's essentially how you kind of move the needle. And another thing that I feel is really important is I feel as though Rwanda's kind of always on the front foot. You know, safety comes first. You're looking at how do we not only gain access and ensure that these 2.9 million people that don't have access do, but then at the same time, how do we ensure that it's safe and a safe environment for them to really expose and just, yeah, utilize technology and innovation to their favor. So that's super, super exciting. The Smart Rwanda Master Plan and Vision 2050 have been forthright in creating an environment that channels youth empowerment and ICT. What are the kind of practical steps that have been taken to achieve this?
I think one of the key elements that we've done, and I'll piggyback on the Chief Digital Office that we just talked about. We've currently developed a strategy on women empowerment through technology. And really the strategy is to address a specific issues and parity for both women and male in socioeconomic development. And of course also address whether it's gender stereotypes and other cultural related elements that might make sure that women are not thriving in the tech and ICT environment. So this strategy, most importantly, is addressing, so one, as I was saying, addressing gender bias, both and putting in place efforts to address them, whether it's within the tech industry, and as well as creating a conducive environment and pushing to have a conducive environment for women. One of the key things that we've also piggybacked on is the fact that government as a whole, we have we're required to be gender responsive. So in all initiatives, we have to understand how is this actually, how are we addressing gender in each of the initiatives that we do take. And most importantly for youth, I think the fact that we do have actually most Rwandans are under 35, and I think that's a phenomenon across Africa. So we're also in particular, like for most of our initiatives, they're actually geared towards young people. We do also have a lot of education and training programs, and some of these educational programs will ensure that there's parity across. For example, one good example is Rwanda Coding Academy. This is a high school and advanced tech high school where we're teaching coding to kids that are studying from 13 and above. So it's middle of their high school, and what we are ensuring is to have 50% women and men representation every year. And of course, we've also seen some of the different educational program or competition like She Can Code, Miss Cake, that are really promoting bringing women into the tech industry. And also with the Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion, they also have, and I was saying they're leading on a policy for specific on women in tech, but also within the Chief Digital Office at the Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion. They look at different mentorship programs for young women and young women in ICT, and similarly with the Ministry of Youth. We've also been working to conduct a few hackathons, competitions for youth and women. And for example, within the ministry in itself, we've been running Hunger Pitch Fest. This is a competition, a startup competition that is geared towards companies that are just starting up. So they might be 5 years and below. And this is a competition that is geared, mostly you see young people coming to this type of competition, and they access funding, they access networks, and then there's a bit of opening up of some of the activities that they can be used to support them. And lastly, through the Ministry of Youth, we have the Youth Connect Africa initiative, which really builds infrastructure and support for young people who are interested in entrepreneurship as a whole. Yeah.
I think it's fantastic how youths are engaged at such a young age, because technology is going to be a massive part of their lives, whether they like it or not, you know, so they need to kind of come into the digital age with the skills and know-how from early, and equipping them is so important. And just a few of the points that you touched on, you know, inclusivity is so key, because if we are to ensure that everybody has access, we need to make sure that, you know, it's accessible in a way that meets the needs of everyone, factors into, you know, all of the different areas and people that need to use these services. And even when I think about the fact that 103 services are accessible on the Irembo app, you know, that's just incredible. And you can't do that without inclusivity. You can't do that without understanding the needs of different citizen groups and making sure that they can access. So super exciting, and great to hear about the Pan-African universities as well. And I know yourself, you're a graduate of Carnegie Mellon University,
Yeah.
which is super, super exciting. And, you know, just seeing what you've kind of gone on to do is hugely inspiring, and brings me on quite nicely to my next question. So what advice would you give to other women, political figures and youths of today wanting to create an impact positively through ICT and technological innovation?
Thank you. I don't know if I could be called a political figure. I think Minister Paula is more is more up to that. But I think as a woman who has been in the tech industry for more than 10 years now, one of the few things that I think are very important is one, being willing to learn, to continuously learn, right? Our industry evolves very fast and changes very fast. So it's very important to be committed to understanding new technologies, new trends, new tools that are being developed, so that if you're, especially on the side of government, you're able to understand where is the world going, how do you enable citizens to better participate in a digital world. Second, I think it's very important to leverage your network and seek out mentors. More often we tend to shy away from asking for support, from networking, from saying or even putting out there what we want to really do. And I think building, whether it's a network of women, but also the men that are willing to mentor us as we grow in our careers, and even for ourselves to mentor down. Let me call it mentor down. Ensuring that you're mentoring the next generation of women that are coming into the same spaces as you. Another thing, maybe one of the other things that I think is in the workspace is very important to really collaborate, build these connections across. One of the things that I always like is ICT is regarded, or technology is regarded, as an enabling activity through for the government of Rwanda. So it applies in all the different sectors, but most of the time, we might not be the subject matter expertise in understanding what is agriculture, what is health, and all this. So building these collaborative networks, ensuring that you get onto interesting projects where you're able to understand the perspective of what technology is regarded for citizens, for normal people, and for businesses is very important that you build from that. But all in all, I think it's to find whatever passion that is something that you're passionate about. I may be passionate about on the technology, and let me call it on the technical part of technology, but someone else might be into the advocacy part, and someone else might be into the policy part. It's really important to find what you're very passionate about and doubling down on making efforts and really working very hard to achieve that. Lastly, two things. I think keep the door open for other women to come in after you as we continue to grow. It's very important that we keep the door open for people that are coming either the same with us, or even people that are coming in after us. It's very important that we keep that door open, because so many women in mid-career, they're just getting out of the sector. So it's very important that we keep the door open. Lastly, I think it's very important that we start celebrating the things that we're achieving. We're achieving throughout, and celebrating others that are also achieving great things. So that's some of my advice.
That was sound advice. I'll definitely be taking some of that advice myself. And I think it speaks to the fact that there is room for everyone, no matter what sector. Digitalization and technology has, the capacity to impact every sector. And we see that through looking at, apps such as Irembo. The amount of different sectors that one application touches is just truly amazing. And I like the idea of paying it forward, I like to call it. So, using your skills and your knowledge to pay it forward and support somebody else kind of just coming into the sector. But what I also think is really important is the idea of reverse mentoring. We have so many youths that have so much talent and so much insight into technology that they can sometimes teach older generations a lot, so just, yeah. But to close, I kind of wanted to add an extra cheeky question, because I know your background in emerging technology. Which emerging tech do you foresee having the biggest impact today? And that might be a hard question, because I feel as though all of them can have impact somewhere, but keen to see your thoughts on that.
At the moment, I believe, let me see. I believe big data has one of the most interesting, or will have a big impact, because one, data is becoming the fuel for most other emerging technologies and emerging new business models, emerging new solutions. So data is becoming very, very, very key. The other part, personally, I just think space technologies, exploring space as we go on. I think it's those two things that are really going to impact how we move in the world, if I should say so. I think data, coming back to data, I think data is powering AI, it's powering into solutions in AI, in agriculture. And when you look at blockchain, when you look at things like quantum computing, all of them are now having, I'll call it as like the unit measurement that is fed into that. This becomes like data. So data is becoming very, very critical at all points. And then space, just because I think we've seen so many innovations in agriculture, even advances in agriculture, supporting us on looking at climate change and an emergency activities that are coming up because of climate change, but also the space economy as a whole. I think that's it's an exciting thing to also explore. So yeah.
Hugely exciting. Well, I was going to kind of wrap by saying that I'm look forward to seeing you in Rwanda next month, but I might even see you on Mars. So how's that?
I think the probability is you will see each other later this year. That's the fastest probability.
Fantastic. Esther, thank you so much for your time today. So much insight.
Thank you,
And I've just left feeling so inspired and so excited at the continued success that Rwanda continues to show the world. And, you know, we speak about Estonia and the fantastic things that the Estonian government has done, but I think it's about time that we really recognize Rwanda and just the impact it's having on digitalization, not just in country, but across the African continent as a whole. And it's because of people like you. So thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to catching up in person real soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.